Have you ever been scrolling through your timeline and suddenly found an old video or photo of Taehyung and immediately fell silent, smiled but also felt sad? Felt like finding a piece of your heart that was lost. Yes, that's how it feels to miss Kim Taehyung. And the question now is, when are you coming back, V? If you're an ARMY, you definitely understand. This longing isn't just about your favorite celebrity who isn't updating on social media. It's deeper than that. It's about someone who has become part of our daily lives. A figure who is not only present on screen but also fills our hearts with laughter, calm, and even hope. Since Taehyung officially started his military service, many have said that the K-pop world suddenly feels empty. As if there's a big energy missing. Not only because of his amazing visuals, not only because of his warm baritone voice, but because Taehyung's aura itself is unique. No one can imitate it. Let's try to think about it from a communication theory perspective. In mass communication, there's the term parasocial relationship. It is a one-way relationship formed between the audience and a public figure, like an artist, singer, or celebrity. Well, in the case of ARMY and Taehyung, the relationship is at a god level. Not just admiration or liking, but it has reached the stage of emotional attachment. That's why, when he is inactive, we don't just lose content. We lose his presence. A presence that has, unknowingly, filled the empty spaces in our lives. And yes, only true ARMY understands how quiet the world is without him. Try to remember the days before his military service. Taehyung really likes to update random things. Sometimes stories with Yeontan, sometimes aesthetic videos on Instagram, or just selfies with a faint smile that makes your heart beat faster. Even something as small as that can be a mood booster all day long. And now? We can only stare at his old photos, replay the Run BTS video, or just hope for a small letter from the military telling us that he is okay there. But from a psychological perspective, the longing felt by ARMY is very valid. In psychology, there is something called emotional attachment. We can feel close and connected to people we have never met in person as long as they have a positive and consistent influence in our lives. Taehyung, with all his warmth and sincerity, has succeeded in becoming an emotional anchor for many ARMYs around the world. And not only from an emotional perspective, from an aesthetic and artistic perspective, losing Taehyung for a while also has a big impact. Taehyung is not just a visual in the group. He is a representation of art itself. From his experimental and classy fashion style, his soulful music choices, to his mysterious yet gentle aura that is rarely possessed by any K-pop idol. It is no wonder that many ARMYs feel empty. Taehyung is like autumn in human form, calm, artistic, and full of meaning. And when that season has to stop temporarily, we can only wait patiently, hoping that it will come again bringing the same warmth, even more beautiful than before. And you know what? Longing can be the most sincere form of love. We still love and remember, even when he is not physically present. That's what makes a true ARMY different. We don't need to be constantly given news or presented with content, because our love for Taehyung is pure. Not just fans, but part of our life journey. If you notice, every time there is old Taehyung content that goes up again on FYP or on Twitter, the comments are always full of longing. When are you coming back? I miss your voice. I hope you are healthy and happy there. And that's not scripted, it's real. Because we know when he comes back later, the K-pop world will vibrate again. There will be new colors that shine, which we have been secretly missing all this time. But for now, we learn one important thing: wait patiently. Because sometimes the most important person in our life has to leave for a while so that when he comes back, we can appreciate every second, every smile, and every moment together that we might have taken for granted. So for those of you who are currently really missing V, you are not alone. There are millions of hearts waiting together, holding the same longing. And both believe that when Taehyung returns, the world will feel complete again. But as time goes by, we also start to realize that missing Taehyung is not just about waiting for someone to come back, but about recognizing how big an impact he has on our lives. And it is precisely during this waiting period that we all, true ARMYs, learn a lot about loyalty, about patience, and about love that doesn't need a new reason to keep growing. In the past, when Taehyung was still active, sometimes we were too focused on the latest content, on stage performances or wow visuals. But now, in these quiet times, we replay his videos more often, not just for entertainment, but to find warmth. His deep and heavy voice, his soft but meaningful way of speaking, his smile that somehow can calm a chaotic day. All of that now feels much more valuable. If we draw on the concept of developmental psychology, there is an interesting theory from Erik Erikson about intimacy versus isolation. In the young adult stage of life, humans crave stable emotional closeness. And believe it or not, many ARMYs, especially those in their teens and early adulthood, find that closeness not from real everyday relationships, but from someone like Taehyung. Taehyung is a kind of safe space for many people. A figure who, even though he's far away, still feels close. Who, even though he doesn't speak directly, is able to touch the heart. And when he's not around, it feels like we've lost our compass for a while. But this is where his strength lies. Because it turns out, even in his silence, Taehyung still has great power to move the feelings of millions of people. And this isn't just fan service. This isn't about just liking a handsome guy or a popular idol. This is about a very deep emotional connection, born from sincerity. Because over the years, Taehyung has always shown that he's not just an artist. He's a human being who's also vulnerable, who's also warm, and who has his own way of making others feel understood. You still remember when he said, "ARMY is a place where I can be myself." That sentence wasn't a gimmick. It's real. Because if we think about it, he's also grown up with us. From a shy and solitary young man to a mature man who remains calm, warm, but also increasingly knows who he is. And that's our relationship with him. We also grow. We also learn that true love is not about having to meet every day, but about staying even when there's no news. Now, we can only hope that there, behind the military fence and the silence of the entertainment world, Taehyung is doing well. That he is finding peace and new meaning from a quieter life. And that he knows there are millions of hearts that are still faithfully waiting for him to return. You may ask, how much longer do we have to wait? But sometimes that question is not the most important. Because what's more important is, do we still keep good memories of him while he's gone? And the answer is yes, of course. Every ARMY has their own memories of Taehyung. Some fell in love because of his voice in Winter Bear. Some felt inspired by his fashion style. Some felt saved because of the warmth of his eyes when he spoke on Weverse. All of them are valid. All are valid. And when that day comes, the day Kim Taehyung returns, standing before us with a new smile, maybe a little longer hair, with a story that only he can tell, we will greet him not just as fans, but as someone who has been through a long season of waiting and is still standing in the same place.